I want to share with you a little bit about the trends in cybersecurity and what we are seeing that's happening in the cybersecurity landscape and what kind of new innovation it requires us to think about. So, by a little bit telling you about the landscape of cyber crisis. There's something very interesting that happens in the last few years. A few years back, when we thought about cybersecurity, it was primarily about very targeted attacks against corporates, against organizations, from attackers that knew this organization before and were very targeted. Either it were insiders that were working in the organization and knew the vulnerability and knew what they are looking for, or either it was external attackers that were targeting the organization with a very specific understanding what they want to get. Cyber attacks were very focused, very tailored to the organization, but quite often if organizations prepare themselves with preventive technologies and the ability to detect, they were able to stop most of the attacks. So while cybersecurity was a thriving sector for innovation, it was less so in the public attention. Think of yourself 7, 8 years ago, you wouldn't think about cybersecurity systematically. That has changed. A few years back, cybersecurity became a problem that every corporate, every organization need to focus at. The main change was with the shift to organized crime and very well-structured group that are targeting organizations. They operate very differently. They spend tens of millions of dollars in creating the attack, actually creating the kind of hacking that they'll manifest, and then scaling. So attacks like ransomware, meaning that someone is actually taking over your organization, extorting your data, locking your information, stopping your systems from operating, became a reality for many organizations. It's a $1.1 billion damages a year for ransomware. More than 8,000 organizations actually stop operating, including hospitals, manufacturing, critical infrastructure because of ransomware. At the same time, an innovation, which is also interesting, about cryptocurrency, also changed the way that attackers can get paid for their attacks. On the darknet, they get paid with cryptocurrencies, so there's a market. And when there's a market, there's an interest for attackers how to actually monetize their attacks. And we see large-scale data hacks. We got just in the US alone, 8,800 companies reporting that essential data sets like personal information, proprietary information was sold on the darknet, meaning that organization found that someone hacked their system and now selling their data. Health information records alone, 250 million records were sold this year. It became a big problem. And third, we see countries started playing as hackers. Countries understand that it's a play field which is very relevant for them. If you want to get IP of other countries, if you want to do surveillance, or if you want to get targeted understanding of organization code in order to find how vulnerable they will be in a future attack, you as a country actually hack and compromise corporates. So it's a very different landscape. We see in our landscape where the corporate sector, from the health sector, the financial sector, manufacturing and the tech are all the target of massive cyber attacks by organized crime, by hackers that know how to monetize the hack in selling on the darknet, and by countries. And now imagine you are the CISO, you are the information security officer of the organization. You used to handle security just by having some technologies to prevent, and now you are the target of organized crime, of people who are selling data on the darknet, and of countries that are attacking you. And you need to reinvent yourself. So we saw a landscape of attacks from ransomware of extortion, meaning that encrypting your data, to wiping your data, to actually crypto mining, using your facilities in order to crypt currency, to hack manipulation, data leaks. And this landscape has changed dramatically. That's also changed the fact that more and more cyber attacks are turning into a long-time business effect. It's becoming a situation that you have stories from hospitals, critical infrastructure company, financial companies, manufacturing, real estate, all being attacked. Just few of them. Colonial Pipeline, the gas pipeline in the eastern part of the US, got under attack and there's no power supply. Hospitals all around the world, critical infrastructure get under attack. And all of it create long-term business damage for these companies. So why? Why more incidents turn into a crisis? What happens that more and more cyber attacks actually turns into catastrophic business crisis? There are three reasons for that. First of all, it's a very chaotic incident to manage. I've been managing a lot of cyber crises in my life, and imagine that your organization gets their infrastructure now encrypted, or the most sensitive data stolen, and you need to manage this incident. In a terrain that you're not familiar with, now you need to have IT security people, forensic, meaning investigators, infrastructure people, intelligence, legal, PR, business continuity, CFO, investors relations, all need to actually play together in managing the incident, and it's a very hard incident to manage because it would take you time to investigate and understand actually what's the situation. You need all these stakeholders to coordinate together on a terrain that they are not familiar with, and most times you'll have to take decisions very fast. Would I negotiate with the hacker? Should I go to the press? Should I cooperate with the police? And you need to take them at no time with limited understanding of the situation. And second, most organizations have not prepared for the situation they'll be under cyber attacks. So they are lacking the capabilities how to investigate, to know actually what is the incident that I'm having, how to respond properly, and how to continue business during this incident. And last, there's very limited data that organizations are sharing for other organizations to better respond. Organizations are not actually sharing how they responded. So that's created a problem. Current solutions in the market are just not sufficient. One solution in the market is to say, I have a technology guy, it's the CISO. He will handle it. Apparently, the CISO is not the right guy to handle the situation around PR, the legal, business continuity. It's not for them. So you are assigning someone with the responsibility, but without the tools to do that. Second option is companies saying, okay, I'll be attacked, I'll just buy more technology to prevent and detect. And they're spending their budget in buying more and more technology, but that would not help them actually once they're under attack. That would not help them to respond. So other companies are doing what often companies are doing, going to consultants. And it's a thriving market. It's called the resilience market. More and more consultants, like the big four companies, are selling you the help to come with procedures, policies. However, that's not really a solution. You're paying a lot of money for consultants to create to you more playbooks, more paperwork. But that's what really you'll be using during a crisis. Do you really believe that during the crisis you'll take these paper playbooks and orchestrate a crisis, which is a dynamic situation, multi-parties? So companies are buying that because it shows that they were preparing, but it's not really a solution. So what we have seen the need in the market is for the following. The need in the market is something that first will help you to orchestrate this crisis. That when you have this incident to occur to you, you'll be able to manage it. To have all these chaotic situations of the IT people, the forensic investigation, intelligence, legal, PR, business continuity, the CEO, the CFO, all actually to come together on a single platform to coordinate it. That's called command and control. But the command and control need to be effective, that you have response plans that are adapted to the situation. You have tools that enable you how to perform your task. You're able in real time to sync between all the parties and actually to manage the crisis. You'll be surprised. While the damages of cyber crisis are just increasing, there are no good tools out there for how to actually orchestrate it. Second, you need a better tool how to prepare effectively. It can't be that preparation is just about having consultants writing paper documents. It must be that you'll have some platform or some solution that enables you to prepare effectively, to know what's your threat, what will be your response, to train and to simulate and understand your shortcoming. How would you be reacting if you have a real crisis? And third, we need a way to take all this data out there about cyber crisis and use it for the benefit of other companies. So for example, if we know how company responded and whether it was effective or not, we need to take these data insights and incorporate them in the way that we will respond. So that's the need, and the Israeli ecosystem is now working intensively to try to come with solutions, because we understand that cybersecurity is not just about prevention, it's about response. And in Germany, it's specifically interesting. Why so? Because the regulation now requires you to do that. New regulation like the NIS2 and DORA regulation in Europe requires organizations and the management to proactively prepare. Strategic readiness of the management, to know what the threat, to know that you are actually preparing for this threat, to come up with a response plan, to train and to simulate. It's now a regulatory requirement. So we see a growing demand. And just as we said all the time, in Israel, when we see a growing demand and a bigger problem and a need in the market, we go and innovate. So just the last thing, and not to promote ourselves, but that's actually what we're doing at Cytactic. I'm very glad that I have a team of expert, experienced crisis managers, handled hundreds of crises around the world, and work with Fortune 500 corporates around the world in order to help them to better prepare and respond for a cyber crisis. We built for the first time the digital cyber crisis readiness and management platform, and we work with corporates to get them better resilient. So when the attack would come, and it will come, either from organized crime, dedicated hackers, or from a country, you'll be able to respond properly and to mitigate the damage. Thank you very much.